Hey, I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to check out the new Cohort I by Haydenshapes surfboards. So the Cohort I that I have, I believe, is a stock 511, but I believe there's two stock 511s. There's a regular dims, and there's kind of like a plus dims. And this is the plus dims at 511, 19.5, 2.5, and it's 31 litres. So looking over the Cohort I, pretty kind of standard shortboard outline. The outline, pointy nose, rounded square tail, a little bit wider through I think the front and the tail than a lot of like high performance shortboards, but that's been really good because it's a very forgiving high performance shortboard, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. Having a look at the rocker, fairly flat through the center, nothing crazy, bit of tail lift and a nice bit of nose lift, kind of gentle from about halfway to a third, has this nice lift that comes out the front of the board, makes surfing really easy and keeps you out of trouble. With the rail, a 2.5, I'd say it's a kind of mid to fullish rail. It's not big and thick. It just feels really nice under the hand. You can kind of feel the volume that's in the board, and it also cuts through water and feels really nice moving through the water. Flipping it over, on the Haydenshapes website, they say that it's a deep single. This doesn't feel like a deep single. It feels like a single, but it doesn't feel deep. The surfboards are handcrafted. They're all a little bit different. I wouldn't say this is a deep single, but it's definitely a single. And it also comes to a double through the fins, and then off the tail, just behind the back fin, it feels like it's flat through the exit there. So that would just keep water moving through the board nice and easily, keep it fast, make it really easy to surf and work in, small and big conditions. So I've been riding the Cohort I in a variety of conditions. We did the initial thoughts quite some time ago. I had some time kind of out of the water and just riding some mid-lengths. I hurt myself and was just taking it pretty easy. So I'd ridden this and then I hadn't ridden it for ages, and I was frothing to get back on a shortboard. And I was frothing for this because I really like riding high performance shortboards, but I think my high performance surfing days of riding, really thin, narrow stuff that is not very forgiving is kind of out the door. And boards like this, and especially this, makes surfing high performance shortboards really easy and really fun. Like I said, it holds some width through the front and all through the tail, but I wouldn't say it's wide. It's still got like a really pointy nose, and it's still got a high performance shortboard outline, but it's just a little bit more forgiving than some of those other, really kind of pro models and higher performance shortboards. So that was really good for me, getting back from an injury, getting back on a shortboard to ride something that, had a nice outline that was really forgiving, and a really nice kind of gentle distribution of foam that had foam in all the right places. 31 litres sits around my normal kind of shortboard volumes. I'm kind of sitting, 30, 31, 31 and a half. Not too fixated on the number. It's more about what it feels like, and this felt absolutely perfect. I was able to surf it in a whole variety of conditions, from kind of knee to waist high, through to where I live. We had one day where it was absolutely pumping. I got about half a dozen waves, some of the best waves I've got in a long time. And the Cohort felt like, I think the saying is, like a hot knife through butter. It felt like a hot knife through butter. While it doesn't need, perfect pumping waves to perform, it definitely did enjoy it. Waves of a bit more juice and nice, clean, open faces that, you weren't doing a lot of work to get to sections. It was just natural flow, really easy to surf, and a bit of push behind you. The Cohort felt absolutely at home. Flipping over the Cohort, this is actually one of the most interesting things. I always say, I think when you've seen me do shortboard reviews before, the AM, the large AM, the AM2 by Futures is my go-to fin template. In FCS, it's just a large AM. I put the AM in this and it did not feel good at all. I don't think I've ridden a board where the AM hasn't been, I guess, a good basis for comparison of seeing where I needed to go to, have a bigger fin or a smaller fin, something more rake, something with a speed generating fin or something like that. The AM just didn't feel good at all. The HS1 felt absolutely mental. So this is the HS1 by Futures. It's the Haydenshapes fin, and it's from the Futures Generation series. So what that means is a speed generating fin. So it has a light foil through the inside, and what that does, it kind of pulls water, and it's a really fast fin. It definitely felt like it added speed and a bit of mobility to the board, and it just felt absolutely mental. Look, the AM felt okay. And at the time when I was riding it, I didn't think it felt horrible, but then taking that out and putting the HS1 in, I noticed it was remarkable how different it was. So yeah, the HS1 is the go-to fin for the Cohort. There's also, I think it comes in a medium, might even come in a small, but this is a large. So at 5'10.5", 90, 92 kilos, the HS1 felt absolutely perfect. Overall, the Cohort felt epic. A few years ago, I rode a whole bunch of a model they had from Haydenshapes called the Ando. There's been a few different Ando models over the years. I think there was one called the Ando All-Star, and there was one I think called the Ando, and I think I had 2, 3, maybe 4 of them in a row. Absolutely loved it. There's a few characteristics of that board that I felt in this, and felt like I did some really good surfing on this board. It was easy to surf, and coming back from an injury where I hadn't been riding a shortboard, this was the go-to board. The other thing is we get a lot of questions. We did a review a while ago with the Hypto Crypto. Everyone knows a Hypto Crypto. It's an amazing board for someone who's a beginner to an intermediate, and it's also an amazing board for someone who's an advanced surfer like Dylan Graves, some of the Haydenshapes team who absolutely rip all ride it, and it's one of the funnest boards I've ever ridden. But a lot of people ask me, what's that next step from a Hypto Crypto, you know, with its rounder nose and its more forgiving shape, to a shortboard? The Cohort's kind of there, I think, if you want that, but probably for someone stepping from a Hypto to a shortboard, this is a shortboard for good waves. If you're looking for something from the Haydenshapes range that is probably a step from a Hypto Crypto to a pointy nose shortboard, I'd probably look at the Love Buzz or one of their other models. They do a whole bunch of epic models, and the Love Buzz is something else that's really forgiving, lots of fun, but the Cohort just sits a little bit above that. Like I said, it's forgiving, but I think if you're a beginner surfer and you want to get onto a shortboard, there's something in that range between the Hypto and the Cohort that you should be looking at, and my suggestion would be the Love Buzz. But yeah, if you're kind of stepping up and you think you're going to be primarily surfing, you know, pretty good to pumping waves, I'd give the Cohort a go and just work out your sizing with volume, so it's easy to paddle and easy to surf. Look, overall, I absolutely loved the Cohort one. Super easy to surf, very forgiving, and coming back from an injury where I wasn't sure about riding a shortboard, it made the whole kind of return to, you know, performance and shortboard surfing really easy. Look, I absolutely loved it, and hope you get a chance to check one out. Thanks so much for watching.